Let's talk a little bit about what we're going to do here. We're going to clean some records up. There's a little bit of controversy on the Facebook group. It's tanked out, tanked up, whatever. I'll correct myself. But what they've, a little bit of controversy over whether it's distilled water that we need to be working with, or do we need to add TurgiClean to it, or is there some specialized soap formula that we need to be using or dissolve it? And what TurgiClean is, just to give you an idea, it is and I probably will not pronounce it right. Most of you are saying I don't pronounce anything right because I'm from North Carolina, but it's a yeah, that's it. A surfactant. I can't get it out. Hey, I can read it and I can say it in my head. So anyway, essentially TurgiClean allows for the ultrasonic bubbles to get down, get down into the groove, break the surface tension of the water, and to quote my favorite biology teacher, the most remarkable feature of water or characteristic of water is its high surface tension. Thus, a mosquito can walk on water. So there you go. So what TurgiClean does is basically make it where a mosquito cannot walk on water. Now, what do we got going on here? I got a Vivor digital ultrasonic cleaner. You can get them on eBay for $125, $150. But usually the setup that I would recommend is one that comes with the rotating unit up here to get everything going. It's got a motor, and then we're going to put the records up here. And the way we're going to figure out, hey, does TurgiClean do better, or does just distilled water do better? So again, you take about 15 drops, you put in the tank of water, distilled water, or just leaving the TurgiClean out and just doing it with distilled water. The idea of how I'm going to go about that, it's going to be a little bit subjective. It's going to be less subjective, I think, than, I don't know what other methods there are other than taking a 2 LP album, such as Dave Matthews Band, Under the Table and Dreaming, and then Matchbox 20. I've got their 2 LP, basically their greatest hits. I forget what they call it. Exile on Main Street. That's it. And I've got Old Big Whiskey, the Grew Crux King. My word, having a hard time today. Another Dave Matthews Band classic. But I've got 3 albums here. I'm going to be able to clean. I think I'll just stick with the 2 Dave Matthews Band titles. And what you can do is you can take one from each, run it with just distilled water, and then take the other remaining 2 and clean them on a cycle with TurgiClean. So I've got this all set up. I've got a fan for drying. Here's your drying rack. This and this comes together. I've also got a set of, these are, I think the pair of them are $6 at Harbor Freight. They fit right over the label, and you can put them on there, and you can get your hands on them and everything, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So that's it. Going to change up a couple little things here of how I'm set up. I'm going to bring a rack in. I forgot that. Going to go get that, and we're going to get our temperature as we're at 18 degrees Celsius. It won't. That's another thing. Some people do it at room temperature. Some people like it 20 degrees Celsius. Some of them like it at 30 degrees Celsius. And I have read where guys say do not go over 30 degrees Celsius. I've got my target set for 23 degrees Celsius. I've not had a problem. And this is a lot more complicated than it looks. You do it 2 or 3 times, man, it's like riding a bike. So anyway, there it is. So, Dave Matthews Band, Under the Table and Dreaming. All right. Now, this makes a lot of noise. It's actually about 75 dB right up against it. Right now we're at 19 degrees. We're close enough. I'm not worried about it. We're going to get it going. I've got everything kind of preset. You just want to make sure that they're getting, with mine it's all the way down, but you just want to make sure that you've got the right water level. We need to add a little bit. So that's going to actually cool it off. Not too much. There, that's perfect. So that's going to bring me down probably 3 or 4 degrees Celsius. All right, so what we do, we got a 30-minute cycle, and then we wait. So all right, we've got about 40 seconds left. As you can tell, a lot of noise. A couple notes here. What we want to do is with just distilled water, we're not really worried about rinsing them nearly, well, hardly any at all. So what we're going to do is we're going to transfer them to the drying rack straight out. And we're going, with TurgiClean, we're going to have to rinse that. Absolutely. TurgiClean tells you on their directions, rinse it, get the TurgiClean off the record. So we'll get into that later. There's the 30 minutes. A lot of people do 10 minutes. A lot of people do 15. I do 30. I use, by the way, aftermarket AC adapter, and you can set that, the speed of it. You can set the voltage. I set the voltage at 5 volts instead of 12 volts. 12 volts is like this. I mean, it's, well, maybe not that fast, but it's every 20 seconds around, maybe every 15 seconds. This is about every 50 seconds around. So I had read enough guys talking about 1 round a minute is enough, and that's basically as low as I can get this thing set, is about 50 seconds around. Now, what are we going to do? We're going to turn this on. I did turn the heat on back here. You want it dry as possible. You're out here in the garage. If it's damp outside, you're going to have a hard time getting them clean. So let's get the process going here. Cut that off. Got a washer there. That thing will fall in, and then you got to dig it out. So, all right, so all we're going to do is we're going to set it right there. We're going to let air dry. Whoa, ain't good. I guess you got to be a little more careful than that. There you go. All right, so that is the disc 1 on both of those albums. Now, what are we going to do? We're going to do TurgiClean. We're going to put in, we're at 23 degrees. We're going to put in, say, 12 drops. So. That's 12 drops. And it definitely changes the way things look. Gives it a little bit of a milky look to it. And it'll take long for that to get moving around. So what we're going to do is we're going to load back up under the table and trim. And say you want to have them about 2 inches apart. I've had them as close as 1/4 of an inch apart. And really and truly, I didn't play around enough to know a difference. But I'm not saying there's not a difference in that. I just really soon in my game changed what I was doing. Oh, come on. Can't get my stubby little fingers on it. And it just occurred to me that I forgot my microphone. I'm not going to redo this. I'm too deep in to be redoing. There you go. There you go. Okay, right now, hey, we got the mic back going too, but right now what we're going to do is we're going to inspect our drying records, and man, they're looking great. They're dry. Everything is, I can feel the heat coming down from up there, so the air is nice and dry. What we're going to do is we're going to take a brand new one of these. Now look, if you do a whole lot of rubbing, you're going to get these in your grooves. Do not do that. This is all you want to do, and that's it. I'll deal with putting them in, we got about 25 seconds left on this batch. What we are going to do is let them be right here in the rack. And of course, I can't hardly get the paper. There's the timer. So it automatically stops spinning at the end of that. We're going to put that back there like that. Now what we're going to do, we're going to introduce some complication to this method. We've got the TurgiClean. Remember, with the TurgiClean or any type of surfactant, good Lord, my English bewrayeth me. So anyway, with any kind of surfactant, we have got to get it out of the grooves according to TurgiClean and most of what I've read about the other surfactants as well. So let's raise them up. I keep them spinning until absolutely last second. And what you're going to see is we're going to mix it up. We're going to start using this. This is distilled water, spray bottle of distilled water. So what are we going to do? Again, we've got a fresh towel. I throw these away after every use or use them for something else. And again, you'll get, if you use them wrong, they will backfire on you, and you will get lint in your grooves, and your needle will look like a fuzzball. Your stylus. I hope I drop that. That's what I need to do, drop that in that tank. So I'll get this unhooked like that, and I'll set it back to spinning. Oh, see? I dropped the washer. That's the way it's supposed to be. Now, what we're going to do, you have to be careful doing this. Not really worried about damage, and I've not used it in a while, so I'm going to be rusty. Get it in the middle. And you know, I'll tell you what, these labels are very hardy, and I have got them soaked. Now this will prevent any water, these suction cups will prevent any water from getting on them, on the labels. But I have gotten the label completely wet, and it makes no difference. It's amazing to me. Got to do this a couple times to get it right. The more you use them, the better you are with them. There you go. Now, what we've got to do, this rinses the surfactant away, and I've got it draining into a bucket. Don't know if you can see that down here or not. I'll do it a couple times. I'm going to make sure the surfactant just falls right out. You don't need to wipe it down or anything like that. Okay. Now, don't want a repeat of my previous error. All right, let's get the next one going. And now we can turn that off. It's got a little button you can see down in there. Again, practice makes perfect with these, no doubt about it. Looks complicated or hard. It's really not. It's just that it's like anything else in this world. If you don't do it enough, it's still not right. If you don't do it enough, you won't get it right. There it is. Okay. And I have dropped it. I have absolutely dropped it. No damage to the disc. They're more hardy than you think. Oh, I'm a little bit off. You're about to see it. There you go. I'm going to wipe that label off a little bit more because I am a little lopsided on that label. I want to make sure. But my experience has been not a problem. So we're going to let that, there I go. I'm going to let that go. I'm going to get another one going. I don't mind the TurgiClean. You just got to, hey, if there's very little difference or no difference, I'm not going to use the TurgiClean. This is $35 for this tube. Now, I have done 30 albums and I've only lost a ½ inch. So this goes and goes and goes and goes, and you can reuse. You can run a tank until the water's visibly dirty, and then you change it out. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this matchbox, and I don't really recommend doing this. But that's what I'm doing. I have the hardest time with the cellophane. But anyway, let's put that over there. Nice and dry. I actually did some records, cleaned some records for a girl in our church. Her dad has just been a blessing to me. And I knew she was starting to collect, and he's helped me out with some things. Give me some extra hand on some cell tower work that I do. And I knew she was collecting, and I wanted to be a blessing to them. So I helped her out, and that's where I first saw this, basically a greatest hits by Matchbox 20. And I mean, that's my generation, man. That's more so than the Billy Joel and the Van Halen and so on and so forth. This and Dave Matthews Band is really my generation. So we're going to put this up here and get it going in the TurgiClean. It's just, here's the deal. Again, the expense of $35 for that, of course, it's tiny. You know, it's going to last for many, many records. But, you know, the added expense, the added steps, when you're doing a lot of records, the steps, they add up. So anyway, let's get this going. And the next thing we're going to do is in about 15 minutes. They dry pretty good in 15 minutes, but I usually just leave them on there for the whole cycle to dry as well. There that goes. They're spinning. And let's see, in a few minutes, we're going to be able to go upstairs and we're going to see. And I'll just report back because, you know, you can't play them. There's no sense in it anyway because you can't, with these microphones, you just can't tell the worth of anything. But I'll report back. Let's see what we've got. Okay, guys. All right, I'm going to report back. We're going to talk about the results of whether Surfactant, let's just call it TurgiClean. I believe we've established what it is. But we're going to talk about whether or not it made a difference. Let's put it this way. I listened to Big Whiskey, disc 1, side 1. Quiet as a mouse. Just as quiet as a mouse. Then I went to disc 2, side 1. And I heard a little bit, but I honestly believe it was artifacts from the pressing, from the vinyl. I heard a little bit at Time Bomb. Time Bomb sounded good. I got the Baby Blue, the dead space between Time Bomb and Baby Blue. There was an actual, I mean, it was a pop. I mean, it was a good pop. Now, I had not listened to that. I had listened to disc 1 previously, but I had not, before cleaning, but I had not listened to disc 2. So I can't say, well, that was introduced by, you know, TurgiClean or whatever. I can't say that. But I heard 2 or 3 little snap crackle pops between Time Bomb and Baby Blue. Now, Baby Blue, Time Bomb's a pretty upbeat, I mean, Dave Matthews Band, I mean, they got it jamming, right? Baby Blue, real mellow. Um, I could hear some things going on, a little bit of snap, crackle, and pop. However, I've got to say, I've got to blame that on the vinyl. I'm not blaming that on Stuff in the Grooves. I'm just not. I brought out the Under the Table and Dreaming, and with that one, let me get there. With that one, I started on disc 2. That way, I was on the Turgiclean right there from the get-go. I started with Ants Marching. Sounded great. I mean, I was not having any issues. Actually, in the dead space before Ants Marching, where you put the needle down, it was, I mean, there was a couple, there was actually at the same spot, I was watching it, and at the same spot it was almost like it would have been a scratch. Now, I've not looked at it yet. It really wasn't it didn't sound like a scratch, but it sounded like a pop at the same place. Kind of weird. But that album, Disc 1 and Disc 2, I've heard that before cleaning, with or without Turgiclean, and I'm telling you, that is the quietest album, even over a MoFi, Mobile Fidelity, or whatever. That is the quietest album I've got. And I heard that. I didn't think nothing of it. Ants Marching played, great song, but it's kind of up and it's a little bit loud. But what's the next song? The next song is Lover Lay Down. Lover Lay Down is real laid back. It's Lover Lay Down. I mean, it was quiet as a mouse, and that's what Turgiclean. I'm going to call it. I'm going to say, guys, I can't tell the difference. It's not worth the extra steps for me. If people are hearing a difference, I think it's the vinyl. I think it's natural artifacts. I'm trying to move around so I can block that light in my armoire back there from causing problems. But I just think it's vinyl. I think it's an imperfect medium, or media, I should say. But we love it, and that's some of the excitement is, okay, nobody likes snap, crackle, pop. Nobody likes the Rice Krispie effect, but you properly clean your albums, you're going to get that down as little as a little amount as possible. And I'm going to finish this batch of Turgiclean out. I'm going to use that batch until it's dirty. I am not, however, going to continue to use Turgiclean because it adds a couple minutes for every batch and steps and so on and so forth. I could be smoking a cigar, So anyway, my judgment, just to be clear, is I'm going with straight distilled water and let it ride. That's it. With that being said, hey, click like, subscribe, and share the video. Let some people get a hold of it. Comment down below. Let's get a discussion going on. How do you feel about it? If you come up with a different evaluation, let's talk about it. Good deal. I'd love to interview you. If you'd like to be interviewed, I'd love to interview you about this. Let's talk about it.